The lesson.
Oh yeah.
Tell us a little bit, I guess, about your cultural backgrounds. Like, were you guys born? What were you born here?
I was born here. My parents were born here. So their parents came. I've got two Serbian grandfathers, a German and a Hungarian grandmother. So full European men, like, that's the bloodline, you know. My father's father escaped the war in Yugoslavia, what was Yugoslavia, came here. So I was raised on English household, man. My mum and dad, their parents' English was a second language. My dad didn't really learn other than English. So my dad's, you know, we spoke English at home.
Yeah.
My mum can speak the local, I think they call it Yugoslav, you know, or Hungarian. So she was bilingual, you know, but it was an Australian home. And culturally, like, we embraced, we stopped going to church, like we did church, you know, and then when my grandfather died, it was pretty sad, but we stopped doing the church thing, you know. So culturally, I wasn't, I'm not your most Serbian Serb, you know. I know some mad Serbian Serbs, they're more Serbian than Serbs in Serbia. So, yeah, I'm not, but yeah, that's
it's not a huge population of Serbs, at least on the west.
Yeah. It's I'm a unique fella up there, man.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, that's mine, Serbian and a bit of Hungarian and German back there, man. So
Yeah, word.
yeah. Not Mexican as everyone thinks.
Or Fijian Mexican twins.
Yeah, we've copped it all.
Yeah, man. The South. It's usually Mexican brothers that we usually get. Mexican brothers. Yeah, I don't know how, but anyway. But my background, is Australian Indigenous. I'm a New Knuckle man from Stradbroke Island, and I represent the New Knuckle clan. And I'm about a sixth generation Dungu man, which is my great grandmother, Granny Dungu. And my background has some. We in our family we have a lot of stolen. You know, we have the stolen generation as well. Then on my mum's side, she's English. So I acknowledge my mum's side. She's a Dewhurst lady, and she comes from a huge family. I think she's got a lot of brothers and sisters. And my grandfather is Italian, but I was raised by my pop Grampy, who I call Grampy, and he was an English guy who sort of let's just say he took back my uncles and aunties from the missions or in and around Queensland at the time, and stole those kids back off those missions, and that's how our family sort of came back together on the Indigenous side. And then my mum's side's English, and my grandfather's Italian, as I said. And yeah, I'm an amalgamation of all those, but I practice culture in my life, basically. I'm a New Knuckle man, but I really strongly take my mum's side as well. So I acknowledge the English side as well.
So when you say it was a New Knuckle?
Yeah.
So what exactly?
So New Knuckle is north. So Stradbroke Island is an island off the coast of Brisbane, and you've got South Stradbroke, which is more of a national park, and then you've got North Straddy, which has got a lot of history, a lot of Aboriginal history, and all my great grandparents basically were from that island, and then even past that, generations gone past that goes back to Noumea. So we've got a French connection from the islands that sort of come back down to Stradbroke, and actually my great-grandfather was the first fisherman on that island, and they've got a beach named after him. Yeah, it's called Fisherman's Beach. Yeah, and his name was John Liffu, and he was one of the first fishermen on that island. Yeah, and he was the first black man to marry a full-blooded Aboriginal woman, which was my great-granny Dungu, and that's how our sort of family line started. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Powerful shit, huh?
Yeah, and probably about 5 years ago, I took back that land that my grandmother was on.
Oh, for
through
real?
a native title, yeah. So 16 years in court, and we took that native title back. So now I have that land that my grandmother was on.
Wow.
Incredible, eh?
16 years in court?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
So what's on the land?
So where I am is exactly where a mission was. You know, so you had commissioners and they looked after. Basically, Stradbroke was a female mission, so men weren't allowed to go onto the island, and men would sort of sneak over to the island, you know, to visit their wives and stuff. Yeah, but I'm basically right where that mission was.
The buildings and shit.
No. It was not. It was like a prison camp. You know, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like beautiful homes and stuff. Yeah. It was shacks, tin roofs, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So that's all gone.
But if you go up to my land now, you'll see where all the old war shields were cut out. You can see where, you know, all the old, you know, all the warfare materials were cut from the land. So, you know, if you go around and you scour some of the landscape, you'll see where those canoes were pulled out. The swords, the shields that they used in battle, and you know, because people don't, the connotation or misconception is that. You know, islanders didn't go to war, that sort of thing, you know, but really, you know, there was tribal wars and all that sort of thing happening.
I think a lot of people, at least off the bat, might assume that you guys are from Melbourne.
Yeah.
But you guys are actually from Brisbane.
Yeah, West Line, Brisbane.
4-3.
So tell us about the area in Brisbane that you guys are from.
So when we always yelling 4-3, that's the postcode, 4300. I think it's 5 suburbs. So you got Gales, Goodna, Camira, Carroll Park, Bellbird Park. So it's like, it's not a ghetto, you can go there, you know, but it's a fucking working class community, and there's the different parts, like Goodna is the hub in the centre, and like you can get robbed there. Or you can't get robbed, you know, it's both. But it's got shit been going down for years, and it's very community orientated, and so you know, when we came into the game, it just felt right to rep that, you know. There wasn't many other people yelling where they're from anyway.
It sits on the border too, so you've got Brisbane here, and you've got Ipswich and where the 4-3 sits
right
just on that
border,
border,
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like
even though
Brisbane City Council will do your bins and Ipswich will do your fucking water.
Yeah.
You know, it's right.
Yeah.
So, you know, as much Ipswich as Brisbane when we fucking represent. The West Line refers to the train line, which is the Ipswich line, runs from Brisbane out to Ipswich. So that's the train line that we're on.
But if you're really a Westliner, we only claim to Gales. That's for any Westliners. Gales backwards is Westline. Anything further than that isn't.
Starting to get close to the city. So,
yeah.
But that's, you know, like I was Camira all my life, and he did a few. Look, you were in Goodna.
Yeah, Goodna, Red Bank sort of areas.
Red Bank is another
which
suburb
is all in the
close.
the 4300.
And so, yeah, I mean they're working class communities. You got a bit of everything going on out there, you know. And when we came in the game, it just felt right to be yelling that, because we were so. The crew of us that was painting, so I didn't paint, but the boys that were painting were hard, like you said, from Darra backwards. You couldn't really come in on the line or the highway without seeing the pieces. So it's like, all right, and just so strongly bonded. All our friends, I got friends of 25 years, you know, guys that I went to grade 1 with, they're still friends now.
Yeah.
You know.
Most of our crew is from that, you know, like from when we were 10, we're all the same crew still.
So that's that's probably the biggest factor, is your friends from there you grew up with. So as you're older, it's like you utilise the city and shit. We used to go out, of course. You got to go out to the city for events and all that. But yeah, I spent a lot of my 20s just there. You know, parks, the streets, pubs. So yeah, you know, and I love it. Some people get fucking a bit twisted. They're like, oh, you're yelling 4-3 or something, you know. They might think it's something else, but it's just, you know, that's because it's where we're from, you know. All my life, like actually all my life was there, so it just felt right all the time too.
It's a lower socio-economical area.
There is, man, you know,
That's
like
all.
you go down, there's a lot of multicultural. You go down to Goodna, it's a lot more, especially now, they're gentrifying it, you know, everything's going to flats. You got your housing commission. Camira's the same. Camira's a bit nicer, to be honest. They've got bigger yards and shit. But at the top people, you know, you can have anything. Your inhabitants dictate, and a lot of fucking goons, man. Car fucking hoons, you know.
A lot of car.
We've
heads,
seen a
you
lot
know,
of that
into
shit.
that sort of
Yeah.
that scene.
As youngsters. So, like my corner where my parents lived, fucking was the burnout corner of the suburb, man. You know, like people just come down there just to
You know,
burnouts. So.
Dudes are just doing up beautiful cars, and you know the car culture's huge around there. You know.
Yeah.
And then, so how did you guys link up? Like, you guys been homeboys since back in the day?
That's probably a funny story. I mean, Jovan was kicking it with some of those boys a little bit before me, but initially we met up as little skate rats, basically. Yeah, and he was like back in the day he had this huge curly wig thing. I don't even know what it was, man, but you could see this dude from a mile away, and you could hear him from a mile away. Yeah. And I just remember him being one of the funniest dudes I'd ever met, you know. So we'd be at the skate park, and this dude be, you know, cracking jokes to make up for his nil skateboard skills. But it started like that. We would have been 14.
Yeah. Actually, fucking Rory was really good at skateboarding, man. Like, really good. Sponsorship sort of level. Yeah. Getting put on and that as you got a bit older. And so, like, I used to hang with, say, Peace to Barracks at the skate park, and we knew of these guys. There was fucking Rory and another fella, very good, and it was like, fuck, they're from our way. So we just got, just started to, hey, we go skating together, skating turns to hanging out after to go on parties.
It's like as soon as you've come together, I think it was like the first time we ever got in the car together and went up to the shop, it was like someone put on hip hop, you know, and it was like, you know, we all listened to the same shit, and then...
Natural.
Yeah, I think, how long after that did we start the group? Maybe 3 or 4 years after that?
Yeah, probably by the time I was, actually, we
19?
didn't really, 18 or 19, probably is when we started Kings Konekted, and we weren't even Kings Konekted back then. Yeah. We didn't really have a name. Actually, we started as solo MCs, even though, well, the crew thing kicked off from skating.
Oracle.
And
User.
Rap name.
User. And I changed that name real quick after a while, because I was like, dudes are going to think I'm fucking booting up or something. I was like, no, man, it was like my tag when I was a little kid, you know.
It gravitated from that, though, from the skating, was then hanging out, was then drinking and smoking and going for walks to get pizza and fucking playing pool. And there was always the music on in the background. Yeah. There was painting.
Listening to a lot of West Coast shit at the time too.
Yeah,
very
heavy influenced by West Coast. And so that's
Jovan,
probably the...
Can I cut you off? Jovan had, at that time, he'd already been in the book sort of thing. He'd already been sort of secretly penning rhymes or something, you know. So it wasn't a little bit later till we were walking home one night up a street, and he just started freestyling, you know, kind of out of nowhere.
It was a verse. I kicked the verse.
It was a verse that he'd written, so I was like, man, this is something we've got to do. And I think I remember on that walk, I said, this is it. We're going to make a group, you know. And at the time, I didn't think I even rapped. I just knew.
I was very quiet with it. I knew I wanted to have a go at it. But just the way I was listening to it, I was like, I listened to it different to other people. We're listening to the words. We're recognising this word rhymes with this word, but it's a different rhyming word at the end of the sentence, you know. And then in the next bar, they're doing the same too. So you could kind of look at it like a matrix, you know. I was looking at it. So I started writing, but I never fucking wanted anyone to hear it, you know, until I could see him the same. He was like, he listens to it that particular way. He's talking about certain words from a verse. He's identifying with flows. So that's when I was like, I fucking showed him a verse, and it was just like on from there.
I think we recorded on record and pause for maybe like 3 or 4 years under the house, just not even knowing that you could make a CD or anything like that. Just
I think
because
it was
just for the fact of MCing.
Because we did it the hardest possible way. And I mean, this is early 2000s, so technology is there. You could have gone...
Yeah, we could have, yeah. But we were hanging the microphone off the basement roof and then hanging it down, and had the tape deck here, and I'd rap into it here, and then a couple of bars, and then he'd grab the mic, you know.
The PlayStation was running into the sound system. So the beats are made on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's running in the sound system.
PlayStation
the sound
1.
system and the computer, so you could see where the beat was. everything plays with the mic hanging down. There was no takes, no edits. You had to push fucking play, push record.
And you didn't probably think that you could actually do takes or rhyme over different bits because you just thought you had to do one verse.
Yeah.
That's how you recorded a whole song just live.
Fucking true.
You know? So that's how we recorded just live the whole song. You have to get the whole thing right, perfect.
Actually, I still write with that mentality. Like as I write, I think, well, I've got to spit it in one take.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you don't have to, but it does pay. A lot of plays on the mind when I write, even a rhyme. If I write a rhyme tomorrow, it's like, oh, I know I need a breath here, or you know.
You can utilise the process to make your recording sound doper, but by the time you get to the stage to rap that verse and you've got shit that's overlapping, you can't actually
do
rap.
that live.
Yeah. So, you know, you should take that in consideration.
Conscious of it, yeah. Definitely.
You're writing your verses, yeah.
And then, how did you guys come up with the name Kings Konekted?
Over a number of years.
Yeah. It was always something was going to be Kings because the 3 letters of our crew that we rep, there's a K up in there for Kings. So it's like we were going to do something with the Kings. And I've said this before, but we tried a couple of things. Kingdom's Infantry was one that sort of half stuck. Like we did our first ever sort of gig, which was like on the back of it was in a Namatjira Park at Redbank Plains.
That's the first show.
Yeah, and it was like a
Mind you, we had
community day.
We had pants on about this big.
Yeah.
I had a bandana on. I had like a baseball fucking shirt on, like
I've got a
big
photo
baggy,
from that shit.
you know. And the mothers were just like,
Yeah, it was more of a kid-friendly day.
yeah,
We
it was a kid-friendly day, you know.
got up and bust 3
We were
raps.
listening to Lynch Mob and, you know, like nasty shit. So, yeah, but they seemed to like it, huh?
Oh yeah, some little fellas loved it, and fucking a few crew came down to watch. Like, it wasn't a show that we should have been doing. It wasn't the type of music, but it was like opportunity to jump up and hit mics up. So that was the first ever time, and we were called Kingdom's Infantry. I can remember because it was written on the CD, the beats for the day.
It's about 2001. I'd been over France for a little while. Got into a lot of French rap. Loved the word connection, you know. And there was a movie out back in the day called French Connection.
Yeah.
And I just loved the word connection, and I thought I'd bring that back. And I said, "What about Kings Connected or Connection or something like that?" And I think it sort of
Just
amalgamated
formed itself, really.
from
Yeah.
that, yeah. And it was like KK.
Kings Connected. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then we
spelt it
put
with the
3
fucking-
Ks in it. We're like, oh shit, you don't want 3
Can't do
Ks.
that.
Oh,
We had it
we've got
spelt with
Serbian
the-
and black
with
fella.
the-
We're going to put 3 Ks in under it.
And it was spelt Kings Connected with a C in
Yeah.
the fucking in the beginning.
I think everybody spelt it with a C for maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
The first release that you guys had, Trails to the Underlayer,
Yeah.
2009.
9.
Yeah, man.
Now, was that an EP or an album?
It was a mixtape.
Yeah.
It was a mixtape.
Mixtape.
This little street mixtape.
Tape. So it had half original, half jack beats.
So we had, strict on production, myself making a few beats, and then
Trem 1 got some beats
Trem
on that.
up in there, and Strict 9 opened his whole collection to us basically, and we just went through and pulled out all our favourite shit, and anything we thought in our heads, he just happened to have it in his record collection, you know, as good DJs do. And we just pulled that shit, and we just went through, I think, a few weeks of what beats we wanted. And
So prior to that, like, you know, because we just jumped there from 2002 to 2009.
we did
like,
DJ Cancel. We did Battle Hogs.
Oh, you guys were on Battle Hogs?
Yeah, we dropped a little
Which
joint
one?
on that. I think it was
number 2.
hosted by Strut,
Yeah, wow.
and we did the last song on it.
It's a secret song.
It's called
not
it's a
even
secret
listed.
song. It's called
I
Mercy.
chucked it on there to the
Oh,
back
for
back.
real?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I can't
No,
remember
I
it.
know.
Yeah, it's called
you
Mercy.
Go back and fucking.
It's a dope little song.
So it's
Yeah.
not listed on the artwork.
No. It's after the last track.
Yeah, man.
So do you have to let the CD play
Yeah.
for like an extra 30 seconds or
Yeah,
something, and
yeah,
then
bit
it
of
comes
time.
on? So what was I guess?
I don't
the
know.
reason-
I don't know,
I was pretty cool with it.
I'm not
and I
sure
was
how
nervous
Cancel
about
knew
it.
about us, but it was obviously through Strick or maybe even Big Z. Yeah.
I think
And
they had,
they
a lot
offered
to do
us,
with it.
yeah. And that was probably, really good opportunities for us because we were just sort of kicking it with Class A at the time.
I know that track got recorded and sent to Prowse.
Yeah.
Strick sent to Prowse, so he would have had something to do with probably pushing it.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, because it was our first shit ever to officially be released. When it came out as a secret song, it was a bit of a trip. It's like, do they not like us? Is there something wrong with it? Oh no, maybe
in
it's
hindsight,
cool. You're the
I'm
secret
glad
song.
it's
maybe
like that.
Yeah, so am I. That adds that bit of fucking mystery. Why not? Everything's so accessible these days.
Yeah.
It's like that. Just it was something different. It was a surprise at the same time.
So did you speak to Cancel afterwards and ask him what his...
No, man,
I
I'm
guess-
just happy to have a song that people were going to hear for
Yeah,
us.
we're just happy
That's
that
fucking-
someone wanted to listen to it.
Yeah, man, that's nearly all it's ever been, eh?
Yeah.
I just want to I want people to hear it.
Yeah,
I want
regardless
people
of
to hear it.
what we were doing, like what we're doing now, we'd still be doing the same. We'd still be making music, whether someone listened to it or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, like when I write, probably the only people I think about is the direct crew, because if it can't get past them,
Yeah.
if your best fucking friends aren't going to approve of it,
And
it's
yeah.
like there's something
And it's
wrong
an
with it.
honest. At least the people you grow up are gonna give you an honest opinion.
You would hope so. So all your friends out there who haven't told your mates your fucking raps are whack, you need to speak up and be a proper friend and just say,
That shit's whack.
he's back, right?
Yeah, man.
But what else I was going to mention was, because we were talking, the name started, and we sort of got our name about 2002 or 2003. And then Underland happened until 2009. We really fucking spent time showing and proving, man. Like from 2005 to 9.
We became a live group.
Really,
man.
yeah, a live group, man. We started building a fan base off of live shows.
I think before we had even had that mixtape out, we'd maybe done 100 shows. Like maybe
Yeah,
more.
wow.
Yeah.
We really, really smashed it for years. I got into the battle
And I
game,
think that was our
peak.
peak time in terms of performing, because a bit younger, a bit lighter.
Yeah.
We were moving
Yeah.
around, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we rap a lot tighter now in terms of delivery, but I think our shows back then were so hungry that, it didn't matter if you ran out of breath, you were just,
Yeah.
they were good. They were
Yeah.
good, yeah. I think that's how we sort of got noticed, by just doing live shows all the time,
Yeah.
man. It didn't matter if we were the first person to perform or wherever was support, we were going to do it and do it as if we were the main act, Yeah.
There was never a hurry to get a release out either. It was like, the
As-
more time it took, we knew we were going to develop our style, make it better, get a better rep, fucking get a bigger fan base, So, I mean, we made music and always thought in our heads, we're going to make an album. But to be honest, we wouldn't have had a clue how to put an album out ourselves back then. So it wasn't going to happen without the help of someone else anyway. So show and prove for those many years, I think really helped us because,
And also learning how to do those things from, like, say, Strick and T, all those years, and now sort of going, we know what we do. We don't have to think about it now. We know what we've got to do, kind of thing, because it's just entrenched in us. But yeah, in those days, you have to learn. You really have to learn those other parts of the game. That rapping is really just like, I'd say 30% of the release. Maybe 20%.
That would be my biggest downfall. Like, I have nothing to do with nothing except the raps.
Which is
that's
obviously
all I want to do. I
you
don't
hear
want
it,
to know the business. I'm like, I just write the raps. And it's not
But
not the preferable
it's
fucking
about
person
also
to work with, But it's what makes me, man. Like,
also in a group, I think you need to play your position. I think a lot of people want to either be the head honcho of the group and whatever. Like you need to know your position. I think with us, we've known that the whole time. And I make
He's
beats
the
and
leader.
I make beats and rhymes and control everything. And and this guy just inspires. I'm always we rap on the weekly, regardless if we're doing shows or not. So he'll come over, he'll spit his latest verses to the beats that I've given him or whatever, and I'll just go, fuck, and then I'll spend a week trying to beat that, and then he'll come back, and then it's a competition, but it's a light to better ourselves, I guess.
It's a good, healthy competition. I come over, he shows me his verse.
And it's the same thing.
I
Like,
rewrite. He goes, fuck you. I got to rewrite.
it's a swearing
every
session.
week, the same thing.
So usually I might have made the beat and just couldn't help myself and had to write to it that night. Next week, Jovan will come over, and I'll go, I've got these ideas. That's how I like to call it. I got these ideas.
Yeah.
And then I start rapping him the verse, and he'll just go. No. No. Yeah. And then next week he'll come back with a better verse and I'll just be going, fuck. You know.
And I mean, obviously that, you know, that has a big, it's a big reason why the quality, you know, steps up, because you guys have that friendly competition as members in a group, I'm sure all do.
Yeah.
And you guys mentioned just before how, you know, if it doesn't get the tick of approval from your initial crew, well, then it's probably not necessarily going to go much further.
Yeah, man. What are you representing at the core?
Yeah, and that's not to say all our crew just listens to rap, you know what I mean? They all listen to other stuff. It's not just like we're all rap heads, like half of our crew don't even probably listen to rap. But I like the opinion from people also who don't have they're just going to feel the music straight away.
Yeah.
They don't have any idea how rap should sound. They just feel it straight away, and if they don't like it, you kind of can gauge. You know, they might feel something in it or whatever, and then you can sort of judge, you know, what to do with it, I guess,
Now, do you think that, I mean, you made the point before, and I know you said it in a jokey way, but behind most jokes is a hint of truth.
Yeah.
The whole thing about, you know, if you got homeboys that rap, but if they're not necessarily that good, you should be a good friend and tell them, give them honest opinion as opposed to telling them what they want to hear for the sake of not hurting their feelings.
Our boys have no hesitation at telling us our shit's whack, you know, to go back to the drawing board. And we've done it multiple times. Misconceptions was re-recorded because of that. We actually recorded Misconceptions on a completely different beat and had, already done the song.
Yeah,
And,
wow.
It wasn't hitting the mark. And I think I showed one of the boys and, you know, they basically said, well, you know, I like it, but, you know, you could do a better beat or whatever. So, you know, I was like, oh, well, yeah. And then we redid the whole thing and it turned out better.
Even in our earliest beginnings.
But we've scrapped complete songs and everything just because someone had said, no, that's not hitting right or whatever.
Even earliest beginnings, learning to rap. Fuck, man, some words come out with American accent back then, you know? And then you had to learn, fuck this. And they were straight onto it, like, oh, I like this bar, and then you say this word, I don't like that word there, and you're like, yeah, no, you're right, I'm fucking saying it the wrong way for starters.
Yeah.
I was learning my own style, you know, not, you know. So they've always been fucking brutally honest.
Do you think that that's something missing, though, in hip-hop in Australia?
I don't know.
Well, I think it's so much of a diverse landscape now that people all do different types of things. It's not like one certain style anymore. Everyone's kind of trying to do their own trend, make their own little trends of, you know, what's new and how they can put their take on it. You know, like with what's happening now in the landscape with the style of beats and rhymes, you know, and the sort of almost repetitiveness of some of the rhymes, and it's like a different structure altogether, you know. Yeah,
look, that's just what, I don't know, talking about the friends thing, it's like, if you go and paint a train and you're a piece of shit, your mate's probably going to tell you, you know what I mean? So, anything, like if you've got the right support network around, even constructive criticism. Constructive citizens. That's the next album.
Constructive citizens.
No, because I think that's something that's missing significantly. My personal take, you know, and I guess it's just from seeing things on the internet.
Yeah.
Someone might post something.
You know what? You're not so much judged now in street ciphers and battles.
Yeah.
They're posting this.
Yeah.
It's like you'll get all your comments. If you don't want to read those comments, you don't even have to. So you don't even know, you know.
Instead of kids practicing nowadays, they put their practice online.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're putting their learning experiences online for people to hear. You know, they haven't developed their shit yet. You know, if you just hung back and was patient to develop your style and put your head down for a few years, you know, it doesn't. People start rapping 1 year and then by the second year they've got SoundCloud tracks up, you know what I mean? Like, no, you've got to develop, like, it doesn't take a year to rap, like it takes years and years to really, you know, to understand it. So I think it's become such a quick fix. Like when I work with young fellas now, it's like, oh, I want to record them, put put it straight on YouTube or SoundCloud or something. I'm like, nah, man, you've got to chill. You've got to hone your craft. You've got to, you know, get better and better. And as soon as you think you're good, you're not shit. You know, you got nothing. You've got to relearn again and get better. You know, and yeah. So progress.
Well
yeah,
said.
it's a different landscape, I guess. And kids listen to different shit these days.
Yeah, man.
Are influenced by different things. The whole media, social media thing has changed the game big time, you know. Yeah, and we're just lucky to be on that 90s before the game changed, you know. I think we still got some of those morals and, you know.
Even to this day, we don't go posting a fucking freestyle every week.
Yeah,
I
but we
find
might
it more
have
beneficial
freestyled
to
a few
be out
times
of
through the
reach,
week,
you know. So
but none of that shit was posted online.
fall back, rule from the shadows, because when we do drop, you see pre-sales.
Yeah.
195 Adelaide, you know.
Yeah, and you might not see an
$100
album
an
every
hour.
year, but you can guarantee if you look in our vault, it's stacked. You know, it's stacked with good stuff and shit we've worked on and honed, and you know, yeah.
Well, your first 2 releases were on Class A Records.
Yes. Yep.
But then your latest release, Corrupted Citizens, was on Unkut.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I guess tell us about how the whole Unkut recordings thing came together.
More so the end of the Class A sort of era, it came to that, and that was basically, like, campaign was born of Corrupted Citizens. Like, we were recording at such a rate that it came to 2013, we weren't ready to put an album out. We had these 6 tracks, all produced by, none of them produced by him, put it that way. It's like they make a nice little thing on its own.
And those joints were originally for the album, the EP. That EP is made up of. Yeah.
So it continued then after that, all of 2014, new tracks. When we got to the point where we were like...
And we'd lost the album at
Yeah,
that stage.
that happened also prior. We lost a lot of material on the computer, you know.
Well, yeah, we lost the 12 tracks from the album. And the EP was the next tracks we recorded for it. And
It was
then
like the
it just
fresh
didn't,
start.
it didn't, the
So-
sound wasn't there for us. It sounded like it was a Brisbane, Melbourne amalgamation, not a King's Konekted thing, I think. Yeah.
So basically it just came to a point where we sat down with Strick and he just said that his other projects he was busy with, he didn't have time to take what we had as Corrupted Citizens.
Also, as a job, I think he managing the label, being a DJ, and managing and a label owner all at the same time. You can't do it all. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think there just had to be some priorities there, and Class A is still doing their things. I still hang with Strick, you know, all the time, and we'll still work with Strick. So yeah, and basically I think the flow over to Unkut was a real natural one. It wasn't like we rang up, you know, can we get on Unkut kind of thing. It was like we'd already been building with Unkut.
Trem was privy
Back
to the
then.
album as it was being made, actually.
And I was
That's
sending
from
mixes to
fucking-
him to get opinions and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. And so he knew the heat we were doing at the time. So I think he knew that album needed to come out, basically, and we wanted that to come out.
That's pretty much what it came to.
Yeah.
We needed like the administrative side
Yeah.
started, and Strick's plate was full, man. So it was like, all right, well, we have to, as Kings Konekted, we have to see it go to the next step. You know, like we're ready to start album number 2.
And I
At
think
that
I'd
point.
finished the album by that stage before we got to Unkut. So Trem had the album before we'd even come over to Unkut. Yeah.
And then I don't know, it's a fucking blessing too. I won't lie, you know, like it was. If 2 fellas like us as youngsters listening to what we listened to could have set the sights for something, it would have been Unkut. You know, I was like, that's the fucking premier record label making the music that we must
At least what we were
fucking-
influenced by
Yeah.
when we were younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all these years later, to naturally merge over, it was like, fuck, this is, you know, it's a privilege. It's a privilege because he does a lot of work for us. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you would have seen how T manages and makes the ship run. So you know we need that, especially as artists. You can't. Some people can hustle and do all the jobs and still rap, you know. But we'd like to just function on on our music and focus on our music and
Just
and
want to
yeah, basically.
That's all you want to do is just rap.
If I do something else, then I might not get as good at rapping. Too much attention over here is a risk.
Yeah.
Nah, don't. And how do you guys find the album's been received?
Good. I think it's been a slow burner, and I almost like the fact that it's been a slow burner because what has come from it is like coming down here and seeing that support. So it's taken a while, I think, for it to seep into people's CD players and sit there for a while. It's not like an album that comes on and you just bang your head straight away. It's like it creeps on you a little bit, you know. It doesn't start off hitting you in the face. It starts off sort of, you know, it's got a sort of mysterious sort of way into the album, I think, and it takes a little while for you to digest it. I think there's a lot of deep connotations on there that people probably don't pick up on the first couple of listens, and then I think months later you'll have sort of people going, oh, this is what that line means, and this is what that line means, and you know, it needed to settle to people, and that's why we had people saying, oh, when's the, you know, next album coming out? And so I was like, I want it to digest, so by the time we do shows for you, you're going to know those lyrics, you know.
Yeah.
And that was evident. So with Melbourne and Adelaide having local boys rap back out lyrics, well, you can't ask for much more than that, really. You know, that's the payoff.
That's where I was going. For us, like, we got jobs to pay bills, so we don't rap for money.
No.
If there was no money, we still would fucking write the same raps. So the feedback from individuals, from crowds, that's what's probably the most valuable to us. You know, like seeing fellas come up and recite rhymes and shit, you know, or a point in one track absolutely hits home with a kid here in Adelaide.
Exactly, because you know how you feel when you're listening to other people's and how you feel about it. So if someone can take your stuff in and take it on board, then that's the biggest, you know, compliment you can get, really.
Yeah. You know, it's already fucking beyond what we ever thought. You know, if you're coming to Adelaide and you got 200 in the room and they want to
we didn't set out to be
sign it, buy it,
the next Hilltop Hoods, you know, or want to be some big group. We set out to make dope music, and that was it, whether people liked it or not, you know. And we just luckily, you know, people have liked some of our shit, really.
And it's resonating still. I think people still like.
Yeah, man, we're still listening to it, and you know, you're still finding lines like, oh, I didn't pick up on that last time.
Yeah.
Really
So we're not a group that's pulling out, you know, we're not putting out music constantly that's on YouTube and all that sort of stuff. Where, you know, we like to stack our music up and pick the best shit and then put it out. You know?
Once it's out, you can't take it back.
Yeah.
You know.
I think a lot of people forget that or don't think about that.
And I bet you a lot of
like,
people have got tracks out that they hate or they wish they never put out, you know.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like, fucking, we're probably lucky. I don't have to sit here and say, oh, fucking The Underlayer was fucking shit. I like it, man. I'll do songs from it live if we had enough time, you know. I see plenty of people, they fucking drop some shit and then they don't want to talk about it 2 years later. They quickly drop some more shit. Yeah,
it's like they drop new shit so you can forget about their previous shit.
End of the day, you got all this shit under your bed. You wonder why you're not sleeping well. Hey.
Something that was on SBS Viceland, I think it was, in the last few weeks or couple of months, was that snippet about the change in Australian hip-hop, or hip-hop in Australia. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of it.
I don't think I caught that one.
You didn't catch that?
I've seen a little bit of it, man. Like, those artists that they did, that's all right. You know, they got their own thing, their own part of the game going and that. I just didn't like that it looked like the mud was fucking thrown on Lazy, you know, and so that we had a stoppage in the Melbourne show to get the fucking people of Melbourne throw their L's up.
Well, I guess
that was the only thing, because it's like, man, all the deserving people.
Well, where it was filmed, wasn't it in West Sydney where most of that shit was filmed? And
yeah, it would have been.
They're not even mentioning the home group, the main group from there, you know, like Death Wish. Like they didn't even mention Death Wish.
Nah, they didn't, did they?
So where's, you know, not even acknowledging the local people that did it big for, in the first place. And that's, I think I'm certainly not against kids doing or anybody for that matter doing trap or rapping, whatever the style, or rapping in American accents. I think that's all perception. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go do it.
They've got their market anyway.
Yeah,
you know? They've
yeah.
got their market. So
I think, but
that's good for them.
there was an argument in there that I thought that was talking about not getting love because of the landscape of Australian rap. But if you don't put out music, you can't get love back because you don't have product out there to get back. So to be a group, you've got to go through, you know, you've got to make it, you've got to make the music, you've got to learn how to put it out, you've got to sell your music. You know, if you're not doing then how can you gauge whether people are listening to you or not? You know, if you don't have releases out, you can't go saying no one's listening to me or not, you know, because of this and that. No, you haven't gone through the process to put out music, you know, in the first place. So, yeah, I think it was a misconstrued view of what the game is. You know? Yeah.
Being from Brisbane, did you guys chat to Lazy at some
Not
stage after that?
personally. No.
Yeah, I had a chat to Lays.
Did
yeah.
you?
Yeah. And I think Lays justified it in a little blog he put up, and in terms of, like, I think where he said, like, the scene had to go through this and it had to go through that to get to where it is now. And I wholeheartedly believe that, because at the time, whatever Lazy was doing then, it needed to be what it was. You know what I mean? Like, the style, I think it came from a good place
It's
of
growth.
Yeah. It needed to
growth.
grow into something different. Like, Lazy doesn't do what he did 20 years ago, you know what I mean? And if you look at Lazy shit now, it's like, if you really listen to him, like, he's progressed. He's so much better than what he was back in the day. Like, people don't understand how much better he got at his craft, you know? And I think that just sort of, it got misconceived, in that, and it was portrayed in the wrong light. But yeah, I personally, I don't have any, I'm not against anyone rapping in however they want to rap. Yeah, we've all got a right to make music and do it how we want to do it. Yeah.
Another thing that's interesting is AB Original, Trials and Briggs.
Yeah.
And shout outs to Trigger. Trials is a
Yeah.
legend. I haven't met Briggs.
Yeah. And shout
before.
out to both of them.
Yeah,
Doing massive things.
and like they're doing, you know, they're making noise, and
Yeah.
it's really good to see.
That's the kind of good noise, though. Like, you know, that shit really makes me proud, especially as a black fella. Like, seeing them getting, you know, doing it in the right manner, and also being at the same time, even though they're being respectful, they're still being staunch about it, about their craft, and yeah, I think the message has they've really pulled that. It's almost like Briggs has taken on that, you know, what was Wolsey calling him, like Chuck B, you know, calling this big fella Chuck B. I was like, yeah, man, that's kind of a good analogy in terms of what they've been doing. So yeah, I'm real proud of what they're doing personally, you know.
I think it's fucking excellent.
Yeah, and just the hustle they're putting in, and Briggs is obvious, you know, he's got a huge presence, character about him, you know, and I like all the comedy shit he's been doing.
Not just
man,
the
you know.
music, like now
Yeah.
with the comedy stuff, like
Yeah,
man, he's making mad moves. I fucking hold him in the highest regards for what they're doing
Yeah.
with that, you know.
so I can say, you know, it's
Imagine if
I'm
it
glad
came
to see
out-
my people up on it, you know.
Yeah,
man.
Imagine if it was made 20 years ago, you know. Be like at the start of our game,
Yeah.
we should have had this representation, really, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, we make completely different music, you know, but our respect for that stuff is right up there, like, you know.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, like because the album that they just put out, I mean, you guys mentioned that you were really into your West Coast shit, and you probably still are now.
Yeah.
And you notice that influence in the production of,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that,
I like
that
yeah,
release.
yeah.
And it's dope. And then when it come out, I thought to myself, fuck, this is what I've been waiting to hear from Australia for however long.
Yeah, I felt that too, yeah.
But I just didn't quite realise that that's what I was waiting for until I heard it.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
when's the next one?
No boundaries and restrictions on it, eh? Like just
Yeah.
open, going to the maximum capacity,
Yeah.
flexing skills.
And trials on the NPC, and god damn, he nailed some of those beats.
Yeah, man. I think Disaster had a joint or two on
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Fucking
Shout
that's
outs to
sick,
Daz.
man.
Yeah.
Daz is a kid.
Oh well, Daz.
Man,
Let's not get into Daz's production on the Maverick, eh?
on fucking a heretic.
The
man,
Heretic,
like
sorry.
The whole
The
heretic.
Heretic,
He produced
yeah.
that.
Now, one criticism that I see online about ABs is that, and I think it's a lot of it's directed at Briggs from what I've seen.
In terms
Is-
of maybe going backwards in
Sort of basically, I guess in a nutshell, I see people on there saying that he's, sort of creating more of a division than he is of uniting.
Okay. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to get your take.
Well, I think that's people's perception of what they think. I don't think he's dividing. I think he's just bringing it to the light because it's just people don't want to talk about it in public. It's just that he's put it in the public eye, so it forces people to talk about it, and it forces people to, it's in your everyday life. You know what I mean? Whether it can be. I don't know.
I don't
He
know
does
how
good-
it could cause division when I'm not Indigenous, but I'm with it.
Yeah, I can
Like
see
maximum, like,
how
yeah.
it can, but I think that's because the perception of how people see that is
Well, yeah.
misconceived.
But isn't that just fucking haters?
Yeah, I mean, I
And they're
love
all
it.
open to.
I personally love it. I love
Yeah.
the music. I
Yeah,
love the
yeah.
message. I love the style. I love the whole fucking
Yeah.
shit. Like I said, it's something that I was waiting for
Yeah.
so long that I didn't realize I was waiting for
Yeah.
Yeah,
until I heard it.
mad. Yep.
But yeah, with it being such a sensitive issue
Mm-hmm.
and everybody having their own opinions, as soon as you put something online,
Well, yeah. That's
Yeah.
what the-
motherfuckers
Yeah.
start.
And
You know.
I see people give him shit online for it. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that he can stand up for himself in that, because it doesn't really matter what those other people think. It matters about your family and friends and how he's been a leader for his community. That's the main thing. Like kids in Shepparton are gonna grow up thinking that's like I can be positive like that. I don't have to do all these other things. Like I can be a positive influence on community, not a negative one. So yeah.
Yeah, shout outs to ABs, man.
Yeah.
Changing the game,
Mhm.
contributing to changing
Peace
the
to
game.
Trials and Briggs. Yeah.
Talib Kweli, so we interviewed him on the phone about
Okay,
a week
yeah,
ago.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we discussed was the use of the N-word,
Yeah.
right? And my personal take on it is, if you're not black, you don't use it. Period. It's off the table.
Yeah.
Some people will agree, some people will disagree. I guess, being Indigenous,
Yeah.
what's your take on the use of that word,
Yeah.
particularly from people
I
who
think
are
it's
not black?
in the context of how you use it, but it's to me it's a completely derogatory name. But in terms of its use, I think it has a wide application. You spell it different, you say it differently. It comes from a different place. But if you're using it in maybe I don't know how to explain it.
I'm not
Depends how you
qualified-
use it.
I'm not qualified to speak on it.
Yeah, but personally, I say there's no thanks. No, don't use it at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. All my family came up getting called that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? My great uncles and all that sort of stuff. So we don't want to hear it.
So
You know?
that is that. So
And
that's
we're
not
not that
word?
at all. We're Indigenous people. So you got your shit misconceived already. Yeah.
So that's not a word that you use.
Nah,
That your
never.
friends.
Never. No. No.
It's
No.
in-
And I think
in
it's
every rap
going
song
to
we
be
listen
different
to.
in an American
Yeah.
scene than it is
Context.
over here. Yeah. In an American context, it's different. Like you hear almost white boys saying that sort of stuff. And obviously Puerto Ricans use it all the time. You know what I mean?
And the essays in the West
Yeah, and the
Coast.
essays and
Come
that'll
and
yeah. So in that context, I think it's fine.
Mm.
In terms of how they use it. If you're from that area and that's what you've been doing, then yeah. But if you're going to use it in a derogatory sense, don't go there. Yeah.
Well, I
Makes
think
it an
I think
ugly
some people use the word and they're not trying to be derogatory. They just don't realise.
Yeah. Well,
that
the history behind the word. Yeah, yeah. And
Like-
what it means to people and their families and what people have gone through. Yeah, especially for like Indigenous people, because for us it's not long ago. Like the 67 in 1967. That's our referendum. How long? 67 is not long ago. What I
yeah,
mean?
that's fuck all.
People act like
It's only like a generation above us.
yeah.
Like
They
maybe
don't
two.
see like the hurt on my grandmother and my they don't see any of that. Yeah, but like say like your local, like say where I'm around a place in Woodridge, Logan. We've got a lot of like Sudanese, Nigerian rappers, and they'll all use that, and it's just they just call each other that shit,
Mm.
To me, I don't even think they should be calling each other that, whatever. But I guess they've taken it on from American culture.
Yeah, it then
you know?
becomes kind of theirs to
Mm.
use. You can't
Yeah.
really have an opinion on it. Like.
Yeah.
We're starting to see a little less of a role with the DJ in hip hop.
Yeah, I think that's been happening for a while, unfortunately.
Yeah, and now it's at a point where, I see
People don't even put records out with DJs attached to them at all.
Yeah, and after watching your show last night, you got Wolsey on the ones and twos, and when you see it, it's like it's a
Yeah.
significant difference that it makes.
Yeah.
I guess tell us what your take is on the importance of a DJ in hip
For
hop.
my importance is that they're the most integral part of the culture.
It's a culture.
Yeah, MCs might have become more popular, but the DJ really is the bread and butter to the culture, I think. And they also bring such an entertainment factor to music. I think it gets lost. Like so many albums will come out now, and they won't utilise a DJ or anything like that. They want to have cut choruses and stuff like that, which is cool. But for us, the DJ is such an integral part of the process. And when I listen to music, I want to hear cuts. I want to hear people using their skill. I want to hear people digging for rare records and pulling it out, and you're going, "Oh, I never heard that cut before because I don't know what record it's from."
Identifying
Yeah,
the cut,
yeah.
like from an album. Like, fuck, I know that. That's from.
Yeah, or when
Yeah.
people using like really, rare acapellas and stuff, and you're just like racking your brain trying to think, where the fuck did they get that? Yeah, I think that whole cut chorus thing and utilising the DJ has been lost to all the glamour and glitz of
Technology.
thugging
started
and
doing that, I
or
suppose,
whatever,
didn't it?
thugging and drinking wine and around sexy ladies, like that's what we do every day. Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Living that life.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's out of proportion, out of context.
Mhm.
Yeah. But DJ integral, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I just love hanging around DJs because they know
Fucking
they
always
they're
got
so
knowledge.
love their shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like DJs who really know their shit can pull out cuts from their heads. You know what I mean? Like a person like Strick.
Encyclopedia.
Yeah. Like
What was this? And
I'd
this
just
here,
have to
oh,
ring him
that
up and
was
tell a concept of the track, and then he'll go, boom, and he'll tell me lines from these, from a record in 1984 to a record in 1999, and we're like, fuck, how do you keep that up there?
Remembering all
Because
these lines.
you're into it because you love it. That's why
DJs
it
probably
stays in
remember
there.
raps better than MCs do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They fucking read it in a whole different way too.
Yep.
You go, oh, here's Strick, can fucking, when he's just zoning out, he'll rap a whole verse of some shit. He can rap, he can rap, you know
Well,
what I
what
mean?
about when you hear a good DJ Premier song and he's just done the perfect cut chorus? Like, you end up bouncing your head to that chorus more than you do the raps, man, you know what I mean? Because he brings so much charisma to it, So I think, that we like to keep that a part of our music because I think it's just, that's a part of the culture where we came from, yeah.
And
Yeah, it's
Wolsey's
funny.
so hungry. That's, he's
and the
very
best
hungry
thing-
DJ right now, very hungry man. So
Mm-hmm.
when we linked with him, it was like, he was like frothing for that opportunity
Yeah.
to do that, So I'd love to see that
inspires
live, you know?
more than having a great DJ thinking he's the bomb diggity and he doesn't have to worry about his live show because he's the shit, you know. Whereas like Wolsey's gonna practice and practice, and then when it's, you know, he'll call us up and you know, see if it's good enough and if we approve, and you know, that's the sort of hustle and attention to detail that we want, you know.
Who were some of your guys' biggest influences, and who were you really listening to? I guess now as well as when you were, you know, younger.
Yeah, I want to kick off.
Fucking the first shit that really got right in my head was fucking Corrupt, Dog Pound, Exhibit at the Speed of Life.
At the Speed of Life.
Like our fucking homeboy Barracks would have those two particular albums, and he was like, "You got to study this, like, because of the lyrical content." You know, it was such a heavy
At
lyrical
the Speed of
content.
Life, huge influence.
Massive, you know. Exhibit, Corrupt,
It was,
Daz and Dog Pound.
he was on the West doing West Coast sound, but he had almost a New York influence, you know what I mean? So it was like an amalgamation of fucking...
It just sounded good.
DJ Muggs on the beats, and oh fuck, that shit's ridiculous.
Fucking CNN is a massive influence.
War Report?
Yeah, man. I think Capone is in one of my top 5 MCs, you know, like, actually War Report too, man, even though it's not till, you know, it's 10 years ago now, I think. But fuck, he slaughters it. His overall performance on every single verse.
Yeah.
It's like as good as fucking Ghost's performance on Only Built for Cuban Links. Like, absolutely destroys every verse.
Yeah.
So that guy, massive influence. Raekwon, massive influence. Big Pun. When we came across Pun, that changed our life, hey? Pun and Terror Squad, like it was
Terror
like,
Squad
holy hell.
Almost took us over for a couple of years.
Yeah, man. You know, beats are a massive thing, I think, to both of us. Like, I really like, even, I'd rather listen to something with a probably average verse and a good beat. You know, the beat sort of really hits me in the head when there's a beat that's right. I get right into it, and fucking those things with, you know, like Corrupt in his performance on Dog Pound, his album Streets as a Mother. You know, you got the violins, the pianos. That was the shit that really, you know. We were a bit later, you know. I wasn't listening to rap in fucking 91 and 92 and 93 and 94. I didn't listen to rap till 98, 99. I didn't really get the bug till like 99, grade 12, you know. Like grade 12 was when I really got bitten. I was smoking the Chiba. I think Chiba has a massive amount to do with it, man. It just, Chiba and music have this fucking
I can
relationship.
vividly remember grade 5 really is when I first knew about hip hop or whatever I thought it was.
I remember hearing Doggy Style. I was grade 7. Doggy Style in grade 7, and I was like, this is so naughty. I got it on in the kitchen, you know, and
my mate,
Dad's just over there cooking dinner. I couldn't turn it up, but I was like, fucking, I mean, that shit, I would still bang that album today.
Yeah.
Doggy Style.
My mate Dane, he had some older brothers, which basically became my brothers as a young guy, and I had older sisters kind of thing, so they were my older brothers at the time, and still are. But in grade 5, I remember getting a little tape, a TDK tape, and it was Planet of the Apes, so it was pro-black, you know, West Coast rap, and that's the first shit I actually listened to, you know, and obviously, being a young dude, I had no idea what they were really talking about at the time. I just know I was stomping in my big black boots, you know what I mean? But yeah, I had no clue of what the content was as a young kid. But yeah, I started off on say like the Lynch Mob sort of stuff. A lot of really early West Coast, like Spice One. I was listening to Spice One, like grade 5. I was listening to Spice One, and I used to steal Dane's Brothers tapes for that sort of stuff. Yeah, and then I think around that time, I was listening to everything, you know, into, I think, probably Nirvana and, you know, Pearl Jam and the Eddie Vedders and all the good stuff that was happening around that time. So still listen to hip-hop, metal and everything, but it wasn't until about 98 that really caught that hip-hop bug. And for me, it was like Wu-Tang, you know, Jizza for me. As a kid, once I got Liquid Swords album, I just had that in the CD, like the tape deck for maybe 3 years, you know. That was my little thing. And I've got a big Jizza tattoo on my arm, so, you know, he was a huge influence to me as a young kid. And the Woo, yeah. But
Definitely.
But if we want to fast forward to now.
Oh, even like we had mad periods, Vinny Paz, you know.
Yeah.
Love him, man. Love him. Like fucking solid. Have mad disagreements with people about Paz.
I think all the way through, but our mob listening has probably been the most group we've listened to, maybe between us, like me and you when we're together.
Yeah. He put me on. I wouldn't listen to East Coast shit because I was listening to fucking West Coast shit, and they told me not to listen to East Coast shit.
Yeah, he refused to listen to them.
I didn't listen. And I hate it now. I look back and think I wasted fucking years not privy to some good music. Man. When it came out, it could have been experienced as it came out. He says not to listen to that. Don't fucking listen to it.
And then what about in terms of Australian artists or groups? Who were some of your influences?
It was the boys who, like our crew that really introduced us to, they were onto it before we were. I personally, if I can say, when I first heard Australian rap, I didn't like it at all. I thought, what the fuck is this? And it took me, like, I remember coming over to Barrick's house at the time and he had some stuff on. I was like, no, I don't want to listen to that. But the next day, I had that shit turned up. I was like, you know, because obviously I was relating to it and not even knowing, you know. And I think
the first shit that I heard
was Lazy and Strut. I think it was Legend. No, what was it? The first Authentic Legend. Authentic.
And
that was playing.
I can remember fucking chilling with Barracks.
So we were late to the
came
Oz
over
hip-hop
with
shit,
the Matter of Time. Hoods.
Yeah,
Matter of Time.
Matter of Time. Damn, that's that was
Australian.
Yeah, actually, in terms of Australian hip hop, the Matter of Time would be an influence there. Yeah. Pressure was ripping verses apart on that too, and I think that was a big influence for me. You know, I was like, oh fuck, you can go hard as a, you know, in your own. I don't even know if I realised it was a different accent. I just knew it was natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can flow in Australian accent. You can do everything in a fucking Australian accent. Of course you can. Yeah. But when you're just transitioning over, you didn't realise it.
Because when I listen back to our stuff that we did when we were kids, you can still hear that little American accent in there. But we didn't hear it at the time. We thought we were rapping in an Australian accent. But when I listen to it now, I was like, fuck, we had an American accent. But at the time, we
didn't know any different.
Yeah. We've never had strong accents anyway, like in terms of being too ochre or sounding American. We've kind of been in between, and we sound like where we're from, really. Yeah.
So I guess in terms of releases, if we were to talk classic Australian releases, what are some of the titles that would come to mind?
Off tap.
Yeah. Stage is set. Matter of Time. Left foot, right foot.
Left foot, right foot.
Man, not just like
Strut,
our opinion.
Authentic.
Eastern Bloc, fucking Freedom or Death was massive.
I don't
influence.
know if too many people know about the Freedom or Death, but Judge and Acid, the two brothers.
The fella was Serbian from Sydney, so it was automatic.
I think Jovan had it first, man. But as soon as I listened to it, I was like, yeah. You can tell when it's people know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you're rapping about things you've never experienced, then it's going to come across in the music. Yeah.
Some of my favourite things to listen to would be Visiting Hours, the Hospice, Collabo thing. Like some of my favourite songs are on that.
Stitch Your Lips.
Stitch Your Lips, man. Yeah. That's got the Adelaide boys on it, you know?
Yeah.
When we first heard that, we were living together and we lived with Sus. And I remember being so happy. I was like, yes. I'd been waiting for that song.
Yeah.
I'd never heard it, but I'd been waiting for it. I was like, they're fucking rapping about fucking cruise shit. They can go down tomorrow night at the fucking park. Yeah. All of that, I was like, fuck. Taunts. I banged heaps of Taunts, man. Decimation. I really love that album. Fucking Concrete Slang. I was banging that heavy. You know.
But what do you think about our earlier influences?
Before that even, well, I went through the Stage is Set, I mean, what's that? That's 2002.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think
fucking...
I think Matty was pumping the funk halls a fair bit all the
Yeah.
time. So we always had, it was mainly the boys playing it, you know. We weren't
Yeah,
even,
that's where you
they're
get
the
it,
ones that were going out and buying the CDs and stuff, and we just sort of hear it. And
Layla Heretic.
yeah, that was a
Like,
bit, that was cool.
dope.
Yeah.
That was cool, and fucking Disaster.
Yeah.
Made beats for that, like specifically for that.
Yeah, I
They
think
were,
you
like,
mentioned that
completely
before,
different,
eh?
Yeah.
Disaster does this flip of a Cher song on that.
Yeah, wow.
And then it took me ages to figure it out. And then I was at my old man's playing pool, and it come on. He was playing Cher. I was like,
Find
this
the
is where
sample.
he's chopped the sample from. Fucking
Unreal.
Cher record. I was like, this dude's a
Unreal.
fucking magician, you know? Yeah.
And I guess on that note, some of your favourite producers, both Australian and
Yeah,
international.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
good
Oh,
question.
yeah.
Fucking...
Some of the earliest, I mean,
I hate
yeah.
to sound cliched, but Alchemist has always been like, he's always got the fucking coolest beats.
Yeah.
Like I've always
Yeah.
liked a good Alky beat. Muggs, obviously, because of the influence
Yeah,
from
Muggs.
from Exhibit. Daz, because of the Dog Pound stuff, like the G-Funk that they make.
You've just
like,
named some of the best, man.
you know what? He's probably the most underrated in the world. Like half
Daz?
the people don't realise that Daz
The
made half of
classics he
Tupac
made, man.
shit. You know, like
Shit.
an unbelievable fucking production skill.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Obviously, there's, you know, your premieres and that sort of stuff, but I think Stoop had a big
Oh yeah.
influence there for a while in
Yeah.
terms of how he was putting things together.
Yeah.
Strings and
I have
pianos
to
and
say RZA.
oh fuck,
I have to say
RZA's
RZA.
right up there.
It's pretty obvious,
Yeah.
aren't they? Like,
Yeah,
I like
but my
those
influence
type of
on
beats.
production would have to be between Alchemist, RZA, and Muggs. You know, that's kind of where my sound, I think, sits in between. Not that it sounds like that, but I like to, yeah, make stuff that sits around that sort of that sound. Yeah, yeah.
if there was one beat in the world you could go and take and make your own, there's a question. What would it be? Mine would be Thug Music.
So can we do this interview just by ourselves now?
Mine would be Thug Music.
Oh
Alchemist's Thug Music off. That's off Murder Music.
shit. Yeah.
Mob, like that.
Mine would be probably. It's real simple. It's Havoc's Apostles' Warning. Yeah.
That's off Hell on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the record before
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
R.I.P.
go.
Prodigy, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fucking
Yes.
sad, that shit.
Yeah, man. It's been the social media shit has just been crazy with it. I think it's people got on the bandwagon with it, but I think those rhymes he did really hit people. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
why
man.
why it's so the love's there. I think
When they
because-
say Mobb Deep developed a cult following, they're not fucking kidding.
yeah,
eh?
yeah,
Nah, man, the
really-
slang, the whole, I mean, you know, New York Tims, but they kind of, you know, the army suits and just
Yeah.
that
Next
whole
level,
street, gritty,
Yeah.
underground sort of steez.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they did a lot.
and I still think Havoc's completely underrated in terms of producing. Yeah,
There's another producer. Fuck, he's got a catalogue of gold, hasn't he? Man.
yeah.
Even in terms of at-home production,
obviously you
I have
got
to
Musty.
say,
Yeah,
yeah, oh wow. He's just got such a great signature sound, man. Like, you know a must beat when you hear it. Definitely. We've been lucky enough to work with
and
a
yeah,
few of his beats.
Trem. You know, Trem's beats.
Trem's beats were definitely... I remember when Murderous Metaphors came out, Hell's Basement. I was like, fucking, that's that royal sound, you know?
Yeah.
I love that sound, man.
Yeah, I
That's
think the
another
first track I was
one.
like determined to find the kicks and snares from that track. I was like, yeah, that's, you know, how do you, yeah, I wanted those drums, you know, just drum sounds, you know. That shit influenced me, just the sounds he used.
I have
Yeah.
to say Prowls.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, Prowls, yeah, Prowls and T for me. Well, Prowls even more so in terms of production, yeah.
Actually, my favourite producer in the world will be this fella, so
Well, thanks,
I'm
brother.
lucky for that. Oh, man. No fucking doubt. No doubt I'm in a privileged position there, like. Yeah, I get to hear what everyone else doesn't get to hear, so I know that your skills are fucking as good as any. As good as any, man. Straight up.
Thanks, man.
Straight up.
The last 2-7. Oh, yeah.